Good afternoon. Welcome to Get Life Educational Empowerment Broadcast, where we educate, empower, encourage, and uplift. I am so glad that you have chosen to spend this time with us today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Awesome Radio Network. I am your host, Sherida Suggs, and today's broadcast is dedicated to some of the most hardest working people in our communities, our educators, instructional assistants, counselors, custodians, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, office staff, administrators, substitute teachers, social workers, coaches, and every individual who walks the halls of the school building each day with a goal of helping students succeed. As many schools across Eastern North Carolina operating under a traditional calendar prepare to close their doors for the summer, we recognize that educators are ending this school year carrying many emotions. Some are emotions of excitement, some are emotions of exhaustion, some are relieved, some are still processing the weight of the school year. Some teachers plan to travel over the summer and vacate. Some will work summer school. Some will pick up second jobs to make ends meet. And some will spend their summer caring for children or other loved ones. Then there are some who simply need rest, emotional rest, mental rest, physical rest, and spiritual restoration. So today, we pause to say thank you. Thank you for every early morning, every lesson plan, every hallway duty, bus duty, lunch duty, parent conference, tutoring session, email, data meeting, late night grading session, your volunteering. We thank you so much for caring for our scholars, even on the days where you yourself felt the burn. As we close out Mental Health Awareness Month and begin the month of June, today's message is simple. Educators, you matter so much. Many people see teaching as a job that ends at 3:30 p.m. This is a misconception that I learned the hard way. And as educators, we know differently. Teaching is emotional labor, intellectual labor, emotional labor, crisis management, counseling, motivating, redirecting, protecting, nurturing. Teachers carry so much more than just lesson plans. They carry student trauma, academic pressure, testing demands, behavioral concerns, safety concerns, family concerns, staff shortages, deadlines, accountability measures, and often they carry the emotional burden of students who simply need someone to believe in them. And they often carry the burden of students that don't care. And yet, somehow, they still show up day after day and time after time. They show up after difficult nights. They show up while hurting, while grieving, while battling stress and burnout. They show up after receiving criticism. They show up after being overlooked. They show up after being misunderstood. And they show up because the students are counting on them. That alone deserves honor, not just during Teacher Appreciation Week, not just during award ceremonies, but consistently. So today, if you are an educator listening to this broadcast, I want you to know that your work means more to us than we can possibly express with words. The seeds that you planted this school year may not bloom immediately, but they do matter. The student that you encouraged, that outcome matters. The child that you fed, that nourishment matters. The lesson that you repeated 5 times, that reinforcement matters. The reconstruction matters. The student that you refuse to give up on matters. Sometimes educators never get to see the full impact of what they do. Sometimes they are underlooked and underappreciated, but the impact is still happening. I want you to take a deep breath. Not because everything is perfect, but because you made it through. You made it through this school year. There were moments that you wanted to quit, moments where you questioned yourself, moments where you wondered if you were being effective enough, patient enough, strong enough. Yet you are here, still standing, still serving, still caring, and you are very much appreciated, seen, and honored. I want to reflect on a scripture that comes from the book of Matthew. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Come unto me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Do you hear that word? Rest. Not pressure, not performance, not burnout, but rest. And let me tell you something. This summer, I plan to do just that. I plan to cast my burdens and my cares on the good Lord, and I plan to receive the rest that He has for me. One of the greatest misconceptions about summer break is that educators are off. Absolutely not. Recovery is necessary for educators. After pouring continuously into others, people need time to refuel themselves, time to replenish themselves, restore themselves. Some educators are entering the summer emotionally depleted. And the truth is, burnout does not disappear simply because the school year ended. Some teachers are leaving this year mentally exhausted, emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted, financially stressed, overwhelmed, and spiritually drained. And this is why the summer becomes more than just a break. The summer becomes restoration period. The summer becomes a time of replenishing. And I want to encourage educators that are listening. Please do not spend your summer apologizing for the rest. You earn that rest. And I encourage you to rest without guilt, sleep late without guilt, have fun, laugh, live, and love without guilt. Disconnect without guilt. Say no without guilt. You owe this to yourselves. You do not have to prove your worth through your exhaustion. And while some educators will take vacations, many will not. Some may not have the financial ability to do so. Remember, traditional 10-month employees do not get paid over the summer. So many teachers will be spending their summer working at another job or using funds that they have had to lay aside and save during the traditional 10-month school year simply to make ends meet. So, restoration is definitely in order. Restoration can be simply sitting on the porch in peace, spending time with family, reading a book, reconnecting spiritually, walking, attending therapy, journaling, turning off work emails, laughing and spending time with friends, or simply existing without constant pressure. Sometimes healing looks ordinary. Before I break, I want you to think about this question. What did this school year teach you about yourself? Not just professionally, but personally. Did it teach you that you needed stronger boundaries? Did it teach you that you are stronger than you realize? Did it teach you that you needed more balance? Did it teach you that you cannot pour from an empty cup? Reflection is real because growth is not only about improving instruction. Growth is also about protecting yourself, protecting your peace, protecting your mental health. Mental health truly matters in education. For administrators, bus drivers, cafeteria staff, counselors, custodians, teacher assistants, office personnel, everyone, parents, and the community. And it matters over your summer break, even if you're working over the summer, or if you're working at a year-round school. Take the time to refresh yourself. And speaking of refreshing and replenishing, let's talk about the difference between self-care and pampering. Because yes, getting your nails done feels really good. Booking a massage is wonderful. Taking a vacation is refreshing. But I want to gently educate myself and our viewers on the difference between pampering and self-care. And here's the beautiful thing. We deserve both. So let's talk a little bit about pampering. Pampering is temporary comfort. Pampering is treating yourself, enjoying experiences that make you feel relaxed, refreshed, polished, beautiful, confident, or rewarded. Pampering can include getting your hair done, getting your nails done, massage, shopping spree, spa days, vacations, brunch dates, facials, sleeping in a luxury hotel, treating yourself to your favorite meal, or taking yourself on a weekend getaway. Mm, it sounds good. And just speaking about this makes me realize that I don't pamper myself nearly enough. And guess what? There is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with pampering yourself. Sometimes, after surviving a difficult school year or even a difficult week, you need moments that make you smile. Educators spend so much time pouring into everyone else that many times we forget what joy feels like personally. Sometimes we forget that we too need replenishing. Pampering reminds you that you matter. But here is where education becomes important. Pampering is not always the same as self-care. Pampering feels good temporarily. Pampering tends to cost more money. Self-care sustains you long term. Pampering may relax your body for a period of time. Self-care, however, helps to restore your life. So, 3 John Chapter 1, verse 2 says, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health, even as thy soul prospers. Not just professionally, but successfully and healthily in the mind, spiritually healthy, mentally healthy, which leads us into self care, which is much deeper than pampering. Self care is intentional care for your mind, your emotions, your mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional well being. Self care is not always glamorous. Self care is not even always comfortable. Self care is not always costly. It can look like going to therapy, setting boundaries, saying no, drinking more water, taking more steps, getting enough sleep, exercising, praying, journaling, taking your medication consistently, disconnecting from work emails, healing yourself from burnout, protecting your peace, choosing healthy relationships, even letting go and cutting off toxic relationships, spending time outside, asking for help, dealing with unresolved emotions, taking care of your finances, scheduling and attending doctor's appointments, forgiving yourself. Self care is exactly that, taking care of yourself. Sometimes self care can look boring. Sometimes self care is quiet. Sometimes it looks like sitting in silence and allowing yourself to breathe again after months of chaos. Self care is not performative. However, self care is restorative. And educators, after this school year, restoration is necessary. So I want you to take a moment today and ask yourself, when was the last time that you truly took time to care for yourself? Not for your students, not for your coworkers, not for your family, not for your responsibilities, but you. Because many educators are excellent caregivers to everyone else while silently neglecting themselves. And burnout often happens slowly. Burnout often happens when you don't even notice it happening. Burnout can hit you all at once because you have been working yourself so hard. You find yourself becoming tired, emotionally tired, mentally tired, spiritually tired, and suddenly even the small things can feel heavy. And that is why this summer replenishing matters, not just for rest, but for peace, relaxation, and recovery. I want to encourage every educator listening. Please enjoy yourself for me this summer. Do not spend the summer catching up on work. That is not fun. Not rewriting lesson plans in June type of fun. Not checking on school emails every day type of fun. I'm talking about enjoying yourself, going outside, taking a trip, dancing in the rain, listening to your favorite music, going to the beach, watching the sunrise, attend a cookout, ride a bike, visit family, reconnect with positive friends, sit on the porch, watch movies, take yourself to lunch, watch your favorite show guilt free, breathe. You do not have to suffer to earn rest. And speaking of rest, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Thank you for listening. Hello there. Welcome back to Get Life Educational Empowerment. That is GIT. Get it together. Life. Live in full expectancy. Educational empowerment right here on the Awesome Radio Network, broadcasting on WECU 107.5 FM and WECU 1570 AM. This is your safe place where we educate, empower, inspire, and remind people that growth truly matters personally, professionally, emotionally, and spiritually. I am Sherida Suggs, your host and proud partner in purpose. Today's conversation is specifically geared towards educators and people in the education system. You deserve every moment of rest and relaxation that this summer will possibly bring. Sometimes educators become so consumed with responsibilities that they forget that they are human beings before they are professionals. So, this summer, I encourage you to separate yourself from pressure. Separate yourself from constant thinking. Separate yourself from deadlines and data. Separate yourself from lesson plans just for a little while. One thing burnout often steals is passion. Not because educators stop caring, but because exhaustion clouds joy. So this summer, I encourage you to enjoy yourself. Discover yourself outside of your profession. What makes you happy? What inspires you? What gives you peace? What energizes you? Maybe your passion is art, photography, traveling, reading, cooking, fitness, music, ministry, mentoring, entrepreneurship, community service, nature, writing, dancing, or simply spending quality time with people that you love. No matter what your passion is, I admonish you to purpose yourself in the place of your passion and reconnect with yourself. And while you are reconnecting with yourself, don't forget about your why. Remember why you entered education. Remember the students whose lives you changed. Remember the moments that mattered. And as you care for yourself this summer, remember the importance of staying connected to humanity and compassion. You can reach out to a charity, volunteer somewhere meaningful, support a local organization. Remember that replenishing and restoration, helping each other, is also healing. And you're not doing this out of obligation. You are doing this from connection because education is rooted in service, and service doesn't always have to happen in a classroom. So if service makes you feel good, enjoy yourself. Pampering is welcome and well deserved. Get those nails done, book that trip, schedule that massage, buy the outfit. But don't stop there. Take care of your mind as well. Take care of your heart too. Take care of your emotional health, your spiritual health. Pampering is temporary comfort, but self care is intentional healing. And I want you to heal. Care for yourself this summer. You deserve both the joy, the peace, the laughter, the healing, the rest. You deserve to be able to breathe again. So as the school year comes to an end, rest unapologetically. Laugh hard and unapologetically. Heal and live in full expectancy because your health, your emotional well-being deserves it. And we thank you for every lesson, every sacrifice, and every seed planted for our scholars. So today's broadcast, it is personal. It is for every person who spent this school year helping children to grow while silently caring for responsibilities of your own. It is not about lesson plans. It is not about testing deadlines or data. It is about enjoying yourself. Enjoy yourself. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for me. Enjoy yourself for me. Teaching requires patience. It is not a 9 to 5 job. It is not a 7 to 3 job. It is not a 6 hour or 8 hour job. Yes, students may only see teachers during a standard 6 to 8 hour instructional day, but the actual responsibilities of educators extend far beyond classroom hours. The reality is that teaching often begins long before students arrive, and it continues long after they leave. Many educators arrive at school early in the morning and they remain late in the evening. And even when they are not in the school building, they are still working to prepare materials, organize lessons, respond to emails, make plans. And while they are in the building, they're making copies, setting up technology, preparing for labs, activities, assessments, accommodations, small groups. And after students leave, they're cleaning up. The work continues. There's the tutoring, there's the sports activities, the extracurricular activities, the meetings, the parent conferences, professional developments, data discussions, planning sessions. Then many educators go home only to forget to cook dinner, but instead to drop somewhere, pick up dinner, DoorDash, because they have papers to grade, they have emails to answer, they have lesson plans to create, they have data to review, they have interventions to prepare. Sometimes teachers, their families miss them. For many educators, evenings and weekends are not fully time off. Research and educator experiences consistently reveal that many teachers work 50 to 60 or more hours per week. When all responsibilities are considered, and I can attest to this, it is very true. Not only teachers, but administrators as well. And much of that additional time is unpaid. There are no bonuses. There are not many raises. And it's important to understand that teaching is not just standing in front of a classroom giving information. Teaching requires emotional energy, mental preparation, flexibility, patience, organization, crisis management, relationship building, and constant adaptability. And unlike many traditional office jobs, educators cannot just simply step away freely throughout the day. Educators operate under a highly structured schedule. Sometimes educators are unable to tend to their own personal affairs. There are bell schedules, classroom transitions, lunch supervision, duty assignments. Um, there are meetings, testing windows, student safety responsibilities. Educators are unable to just simply leave the school building, even for lunch. They're responsible for managing and supervising students continuously throughout the day. And many times, educators have to be in two places at one time. But somehow we figure out how to do it. And this is not a complaint at all. This is not even an observation. This is an experience. This is bringing awareness truly to what educators go through each day and why they truly deserve the break that they get over the weekends, over the summer, over a day off. Now, yes, many of the trade offs often associated with education is the extended scheduled breaks, such as the holidays, spring break, Christmas break, summer vacations, Thanksgiving breaks. But even though these breaks are scheduled, they are often times that we still have to work. They are not what people assume. Educators have to teach summer school. They have to prepare lessons over the breaks. I have spent many breaks working instead of enjoying myself and having fun over the years in education. And this is just to keep it real. They have to attend professional development, they have to take classes, they have to come back to school and prepare their classrooms. And most times they have to sneak in the school buildings to do that because they know that when they return to school, there's not much time for preparation. Educators work so much harder than you know. Volunteer time and unvolunteer time. That is why it is so important to educators allow yourselves to decompress, allow yourselves to rest from the demands of the school year and even during the summertime. Sometimes during the summer, educators have been found to sneak in that school and try to prepare. So, educators, you truly do need that recovery time, the unpaid recovery time, because burnout in education is real. The stress is real. Emotional exhaustion is real. Yet, despite all of these work demands, educators continue to show up because it is a work of heart. It is because we love the children. We want the children to succeed. We want to make the difference. Student success is our why. The joy on their faces is our why. The difference that we make each day is our why. So, yes, we continue encouraging. Yes, we continue teaching. Yes, we continue mentoring, administering, nurturing, believing in our scholars. We continue loving them. We continue pouring ourselves out, even when we're not being poured into. And that deserves respect. So if you are an educator listening to this broadcast, please know that I understand. I see your sacrifice. I see your work. I see the time that you put in. And that is why this summer, I want you to enjoy yourself. I want you to rest. I want you to sleep late. I want you to have some fun. I want you to be restored. And while you are recovering, traveling, even if you are teaching summer school or another job, or if you're simply trying to breathe again, please remember you do not have to justify your needs to anyone. You earned it. So take care of yourself unapologetically because you truly matter. You're listening to the Awesome Radio Network, and we'll be right back. Greetings and welcome back to Get Life Educational Empowerment on the Awesome Radio Network. If you would like to be a guest on our show, please email at the email address that is on your screen. That is getlifeempowerment@gmail.com, GITLIFE. Or you may call our radio station at 252-756-2008 and leave a message with the Awesome Radio Network. Studies from organizations focus on educational wellness and mental health consistently show that prolonged stress and burnout can negatively impact physical health. It can also negatively impact emotional wellness, your sleep, your anxiety levels, your decision making skills, and your overall quality of life. Research also shows that intentional rest, recreation, social connection, exercise, stress relief, sunlight, laughter, mindfulness, and healthy boundaries significantly improves emotional and mental wellness. Translation: your brain, your body, and your emotions actually need restoration after prolonged stress. Fun is not irresponsibility. Joy is not something that educators should feel guilty about. So this summer, do some things that are fun. Do some things that bring joy. Sit near the water. Dance in your kitchen. Travel if you can. Make yourself laugh. Turn off your phone. Reconnect with life outside of the school walls. I remember a time when I first started into education. I had to literally stop myself and tell myself that I am more than an educator. And I want you to understand the same. You are more than an educator. If you choose to enjoy your summer, you are not abandoning your responsibilities. You are simply restoring yourself. Today's about you. And I want you to promise yourself something. Promise yourself that this summer you will care for yourself intentionally. Promise yourself that you will rest without guilt. Promise yourself that even if you work summer school, another job, or if you are handling responsibilities, that you will still take time out for you. Because exhausted educators deserve restoration. Please repeat these affirmations aloud if you can. But first, I want you to pause. I want you to breathe deeply. I want you to not only receive these words, but I want you to say and believe these words out loud. I deserve rest. I deserve peace. I deserve joy. I am more than my job title. I do not have to earn rest through exhaustion. I release guilt connected to taking care of myself. I gave this school year my best. I plan to give the next school year my best. I survived. I made it. I carried difficult responsibilities with strength. And now I am allowed to slow down. I am allowed to breathe. I am allowed to disconnect. I am allowed to laugh again. I am allowed to prioritize my mental health. I will take care of my body. I will take care of my mind. I will take care of my spirit. Breathe again. And while you're breathing, I want you to make space for happiness. I want you to choose healing. I want you to choose peace because you deserve it. You deserve the summer that you prayed for. Protect that. Protect your joy, your peace, your mental wellness, and your identity outside of your profession. You are human outside of the classroom. And for those that are returning to education the next school year, I hope that this summer renews your spirit, your strength. I hope that you rediscover the joy outside of deadlines. I hope that you remember who you are outside of your responsibilities. And when August arrives, I hope that you return not only prepared professionally, but replenished, restored personally. And for educators who may be considering transitions, career changes, retirement, or new paths, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for every life that you touched along the way. Thank you for your contribution because it mattered. And those that are staying, despite the difficult days, the unexpected challenges, the moments of frustration, the moments of triumph, the moments that stretch your patience and your faith. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for continuing to show up for our scholars. Heavenly Father, let us pray. We thank you for every educator, every school employee, every person that dedicates themselves to the students that they serve. Thank you for carrying them through difficult days, for sustaining them through stress, exhaustion, pressure, and uncertainty. We ask you for restoration. We ask you to restore our tired minds, our overwhelmed hearts, our emotional peace, restore our physical strength, restore our joy, restore our why. Teach us, educators, that it is okay to rest. Teach us that caring for ourselves is necessary. Teach us and give us the wisdom to receive the peace that you provide for us. And for those teaching summer school, give them balance. For those working second jobs, provide strength and provision. For those that are silently burning out and battling, provide healing, strength. For those struggling emotionally, provide comfort. Father, please allow this summer to be filled with laughter, peace, love, joy, healing, safety, and renewal. Help educators reconnect with who they are outside of responsibilities and deadlines. And remind us daily that we matter. We matter through you. And we thank you for this. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I want to make something very clear. This broadcast is not at all designed to discourage anyone from entering the field of education, nor is it intended to focus solely on the challenges that educators face. It is actually quite the opposite. We are here to celebrate education and educators. We are here to honor the men and women who wake up every single day, pour themselves into the lives of children. We are here to highlight a profession that is demanding yet rewarding, deeply meaningful, impactful, and again, rewarding beyond words. Education is one of the few professions where our work can literally change the trajectory of a human life. It can ignite confidence in a student who has never believed in themselves. A counselor can help save a child emotionally. A principal can create an environment where students feel safe, seen, and valued. A bus driver welcomes a student each and every morning. They are the first educator that a student sees each day and the last educator that they see each afternoon. And that warm smile on a bus driver's face can help a student to feel better about their day. The cafeteria worker who provides those nutritious meals for these scholars, the teacher assistant, the custodial worker that keeps that school clean, the secretary that keeps things organized, the coach, the interventionist, the tutor, all can become the very reason that a child makes it through another day. And it is so powerful. So while we raise awareness about what educators truly do behind the scenes, our purpose is to also encourage educators to continue finding joy in what you do. Continue laughing, continue living, celebrating yourselves, and enjoying life. As the legendary Michael Jackson says, enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself for me. We want educators everywhere to do exactly that. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the gift that you are to this world. Enjoy the impact that you make every day. Enjoy the moments that matter. Enjoy the smiles, the breakthroughs, the hugs in the hallway, the graduation walks, the handwritten notes, the small victories, and the lives that you touch that you may never fully realize that you changed. Because education is not just a career, education is a calling, it is a ministry. The public often sees only a small fraction of what educators actually do. People may see a teacher standing in front of the classroom from 8 to 3, but they don't always see the hours before sunrise that teachers spend preparing those lessons. They don't see the late night grading papers. They don't see the teacher spending their own money on supplies because a child deserves to have what they need. They don't see the educator checking on students emotionally while simultaneously teaching academic standards. They don't see teachers attending games, performances, funerals, graduations, and community events simply because they care. They don't see educators answering emails at midnight, sending out emails at 3 a.m. They don't see the pressure, the accountability, the testing, the turmoil, the intervention, the data analysis, the parent conferences, the documentations, the meetings, the emotional labor. But they do see them showing up each day. Education is one of the few professions where people regularly give more than what is required of them because they genuinely care. And despite every challenge, educators continue planting seeds. That takes heart. That takes resilience. That takes purpose. Today is about empowerment. Today is about reminding educators that while you serve others, you deserve to serve yourself. Educators, you deserve a healthy balance. You deserve peace. You deserve to breathe, to travel, to dance, to love, to pursue your hobbies, to smile, to rest, to live fully and in full expectancy. Your humanity matters. The beautiful thing about being an educator is that every single day presents an opportunity to make a difference. Sometimes it happens in major ways, sometimes it happens quietly. It may be the student who is struggling academically and finally understanding the lesson because of a teacher or a tutor refused to give up on them. It may be the child who had a difficult home life but feels safe when they come to school. It may be the child who returns years later after graduation that tells an educator, "You believed in me when nobody else did." Education and educators carry stories that last forever. That is the reward. The paycheck may not always reflect the value. The headlines may not always celebrate the work. The stress may sometimes feel overwhelming, but the impact, Get Life Educational Empowerment is here to tell you that we celebrate your work. We celebrate your impact. It is immeasurable. Your education creates doctors, lawyers, artists, scientists, entrepreneurs, athletes, leaders, parents, dreamers, and behind every successful person is usually an educator who helped to shape them along the way. So, while you are outside this summer, while you are caring for yourself, enjoying yourself, getting vitamin D, getting your steps in, replenishing yourself, remember that healing also grows through connection. So stay connected with the community, support, and events, not because you're obligated, but because kindness also restores the heart. And that is the essence of Get Life, knowing that sometimes giving back reminds us that purpose still exists beyond pressure. Never underestimate the power of being kind to one another. Always remember that together we can. We can choose empathy, we can choose grace, we can choose hope, grace for ourselves, hope for ourselves. The Bible reminds us in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 22, that a cheerful heart is a good medicine. And sometimes the greatest medicine that we can give one another is love, understanding, and support. And I support you. Get Life Educational Empowerment supports you. I am Sherida Suggs, and this has been Get Life Educational Empowerment on the Awesome Radio Network. I invite you to tune in every Tuesday from 3 to 4 p.m. as we explore real experiences from today's schools and communities. Until next time, now and forever, let us get it together. Live in full expectancy. Empower education. Thank you for joining us.